When a short-form series ends its run in a number that is not 12, 13, 24, 25, or 26, you know you're in for something a little bit troublesome. When even the most vapid shows manage to make a full 26 episodes, a show that gets cut off at 22 seems like something must have gone horrifically wrong. The travesty of this episode's show is that it very well could have ended in 13 episodes and packed it in. But no, Samurai Flamenco went for broke, even when it had nothing else to do. So let's get this out of the way. I was not a big fan of Kick-Ass, nor did I particularly like Super by James Gunn, which is in basically the same ballpark. I like superheroes to be pointedly supernal, and not get bogged down too much with the real-world implications of it. Now, conversely, I really like Arrow and Flash, but I prefer the 1989 Batman to the Dark Knight series. However, what I am most likely to appreciate about a show is internal consistency, so keep this well in mind when I take Samurai Flamenco to task. So, I would assume that if you've tripped and stumbled across this video, you have a rough idea of what the superhero genre in Japan is, and that is Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Ultraman. Yes, there are other things like Metal Heroes and some of the more indie shows, but those are the big ones. These are very staged-looking shows, with long transformation sequences, specific movesets, and repeated motifs from series to series. That in itself is not bad, but when you try to take something that's pretty firmly based in reality and add superhero elements to it, it gets a little wonky. This is why Kamen Rider the First, the feature film based on the original Kamen Rider, was very subdued in regards to the style of action, and a lot of the special effects were very low-key. This is also why American superheroes, who already have these sorts of foibles that come with a double life built into their character, tend to translate better to the big screen. So keeping this well in mind, what do you get when someone tries to pull that sort of business in the reels in the style of Kamen Rider? You get an asshole in a bike helmet telling you not to stay out too late. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hazama Masayoshi, who thinks that he can be a superhero because he has a strong sense of justice and little else. Yeah, great. That and $3.50 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Kamen Rider has a strong sense of justice. He also has cybernetic parts and a sweet bike. He also has a big f***-off special effects team taking care of business for him. Apparently this does not dawn on our hero. But try as Goto, his friend and confidant, might try and dissuade him from his reckless course of action, Masayoshi carries on getting his ass kicked and getting it put on YouTube. This encourages Mari Maya, a pop idol with the same screw loose that Masayoshi has, to go and do the same thing as Flamenco Girl. Except she's got a mace and a penchant for stomping on groins. And every male in the audience just went, "Urgh." She is hit girl to Masayoshi's kick-ass, except bustier. So now you may be thinking this may turn into something interesting, like them getting found out by people who will actually do bad things to them, like the Yakuza. Oh, if only. See, the big problem with making your characters remain in the real world is that the real world doesn't have monsters to fight. The monsters are other people. The Joker may be out of his damn gourd, but at the end of the day you can still beat him senseless. And while they make a desperate attempt to hand-wave it away by saying that the critters that Samurai Flamenco eventually fights are surgically created or some nonsense, they're clearly just monsters of the week. Oh, didn't I mention? Samurai Flamenco starts fighting monsters, literally with no build-up. He's starting to get well-liked, and just when people are like, okay, so he's not a pervert or some sort of idiot, monsters start showing up out of nowhere. It'd be like if the Punisher started fighting mobsters and then suddenly ran afoul of the Rhino, or if Dark Knight Rises featured Clayface for no reason. These creatures are suddenly brought onto the scene by King Torture, who I'm certain Dick Cheney is a fan of, but I know I'm sure not. Apparently he had just been hiding out the whole time, waiting for a superhero to show up so he can go be a dick. Once the actual monsters show up, they keep doing things that are just stupid, because that's what's done in the TV shows. By this point watching the series, I honestly wasn't sure what to classify it as. Was it a parody? Was it a commentary on what the superhero genre had become? No, it wasn't nearly intelligent enough for that. That was when it dawned on me. This show was stupid. Not just stupid, but horrifically, pointlessly stupid. No one on the writing team had a damn-ass idea what they were doing. This show lacked direction like otaku lacked social graces. I'm kind of astounded I came to this conclusion at episode 8 instead of 2. And were it not for the fact that I'd marked it as my next review as the end of the last video, I'd have dropped it before then. As a matter of fact, there was literally no time when I actually wanted to see Masayoshi carry on doing what he was doing. He was that astonishingly unlikable. I may bash on characters for being idiotic now and then, but Masayoshi is definitely taking the cake. Unstoppable stupidity, monolithic idiocy, dumb, stupid dumbness seems to drive this show. Masayoshi clearly doesn't have what it takes, but he's convinced himself that he can do this. And that's where this crazy old Doc Brown wannabe comes in and actually helps him. Don't give him weapons, he'll just injure himself. It's like giving a baby an assault rifle and expecting him not to wreck the crib. People just keep helping this deluded Nimrod live out his fantasy like he's a Make-A-Wish kid with a month to live. And it gets worse. After they beat King Torture, now it's From Beyond that they have to fight, with their Megazord. Oh yeah, they had that totally in the wings just in case. So now it's not Kamen Rider, it's Super Sentai. And then after that it goes back to Kamen Rider, but wait, it ends up being Ultraman.
No, Samurai Flamenco. それは君がバカなだけだ。バカならバカでいいだろう。正義とバカは紙一重。Samurai Flamenco.
It's generally considered bad form to bash people over the head with how dark a show is, and then immediately shift gears to the silly sort of Monster of the Week business. Here's the thing of it. If you bushwhack Spider-Man while he's getting changed, there are consequences. If you jump Superman while he's in his civilian guise, he has to play along. You don't slap around Kamen Rider while he's transforming. It's just bad form. This is because Japanese superhero characters, by and large, are essentially a performance inside of a show. The characters themselves may be hanging out with other people, but notice how often the fights take place out in a quarry or in an abandoned warehouse. This is exceptionally important because it allows them to divorce these characters in such a way that it almost becomes cushioned from reality by the colorful costumes and the like. This allows bad things to happen to the characters because you know that, barring the mid-season power-up, or whatever minor character development may happen, they'll remain completely the same until the end of the series. No questions asked. The characters will end the series being themselves. Meanwhile, in Samurai Flamenco, characters get beat up, battered, tortured, and one even gets her finger crushed by the bad guy. That won't be fixed with a fucking jump cut, thank you. You can't have it both ways, at least not if you want to be anything more than off-putting. Pick a damn tone, man. So again, this show goes from full goof to full serious like Taco Bell goes through most people's guts. Smells about as bad too, might I add. So fine, let's level this out a little bit. I've been harping on the story, hopefully you get the drift. So let's talk about how it looks. It looks okay. Though it clearly has some apathetic or very rushed people doing their character designs. Masayoshi looks like a big plain nothing. The original outfit for Samurai Flamenco does look pretty much like something an idiot like Masayoshi would have put together in his basement, but once he starts getting actual gear, yes, actual gear, then it starts looking like some weird hodgepodge. And rarely he stays in one costume for more than 3 or 4 episodes at a time, so it never seems like there's any stable costume for the guy. And what most superheroes, powers or none, bank on is how appealing their costumes are. Whatever the aesthetic is, you have to follow through with it. So when you have all this screwing around with weird looks and gear from Stationery, it just looks like balls. As the aside, I should really make sure everyone knows what like balls means. Trust me, it's bad. So Samurai Flamenco is joined by Flamenco Girl, who dresses badly, but at least she only has one costume. The problem is that it doesn't look very good either. She's got no real focus to her outfit, and her mace looks like she could probably flat out murder people with it. Am I supposed to root for her? Because she seems more effective at the outset. Speaking of things with no focus, aside from, the entire show, the monsters are all the same sort of random crap that look like Super Sentai leftovers. At least with the other superheroes that show up, you can kind of tell who they're supposed to be, but the original characters are all simultaneously over and under designed. It's trying too hard to look bad, which makes it look worse, but not in a good way. I don't think that there's a way to make that sentence come together properly. I really hope they don't waste the manpower to dub this one, because it is a train wreck top to bottom. Even if there was any truly redeeming qualities to the show, they'd be too buried under the dirt of the rest of it to shine through. If it had any idea what it wanted to be, some kind of damn thought process behind it, then it might have been able to put itself together properly, but it didn't, so what we have is this goofy brain fart of a show. So what do you get when you throw Kamen Rider The Dark Knight and Kick-Ass into a blender? A big sludgy mess where everyone is miserable, and no one had any fun in the process. This show is drab and doesn't know how to end. It has no driving focus, and couldn't develop a character arc if it had a gun to its head. If this show has taught me anything, it's to be thankful for the good superhero shows out there, and makes me despise the bad ones even more. And to be frank, this samurai should have committed seppuku before it even started. So if you skipped right to the end of this video, no, don't watch Samurai Flamenco. Don't buy it if it comes out in the States. Just avoid it at all costs. Because the less money this thing makes for anybody, the less likely they are to try something like this again. And trust me, we're all better off for it. If anybody needs me, I'll be watching Kamen Rider Kabuto to go and cleanse my palate, because I have this unerring taste of blood and broken glass in my mouth. So with any luck, we can kick off 2015 with an actual good show. How's about? Ooh, this should do nicely. If you like what you saw, consider donating to my Patreon to get early access to all the new vids as they come out. And as always, thanks for watching.